Shwmai a chroeso I Sgwrs, podlediad Consortiwm Canolbarth y De. Yn y podlediad hwn byddwch chi'n clywed y trafodaethau diweddara am bob math o bethau addysg. Hello and welcome to Sgwrs, the Central South Consortium podcast. In this podcast we'll bring you the very latest discussions on all things education.
Hello and welcome to this Expressive Arts edition of the Sgwrs podcast series. In this podcast, you'll be listening to a conversation I had with Amanda Jones at Ysgol Garth Olwg. Amanda's been designing and trialling the curriculum over the last number of years, and we'll be able to get an insight into the knowledge, and she will be sharing some of the experiences she's gained from that process.
My name's Mrs. Amanda Jones. I've been part of the school now for almost 11 years. I'm Associate Head for the Expressive Arts and the Humanities. And some of the roles that I'm responsible for are obviously the teaching and learning across all the year groups through our schools from the age of 3 to 19. I'm line manager for the art department, the music department, the drama department, and then obviously on the side of humanities, the RE department, the history department, and the geography department.
Could you share with the listeners some of the experiences you've had as an AOLE lead over the last number of years?
To start, we were part of the scheme where we were a pioneer school, and so I sat on the group to help design the structure for the Expressive Arts framework for the curriculum, which stands now. As part of that group, it helped me sort of like oversee how Expressive Arts was to be seen over the next years within the new curriculum for Wales. And also as part of that group, it helped me really understand the importance of all the areas and all the disciplines within the Expressive Arts. And also that we were all there probably right at the start, trying to warrior, I suppose, for our own subjects. But it was evident really that there was a very good link between all of us, and that helped strengthen, I suppose, the way forward for the structure for the curriculum for Wales. Being part of this, obviously, it helped me make the best decisions for our school, so we were able to adapt and change, and then obviously trial things as part of an Expressive Arts area within the school, and that's really helped us make the best, I suppose, decisions for that. Also, it gave me the opportunity to work across phases, so with different schools being part, so special schools, junior schools, and as we are now a 3 to 19 school, it really helped me understand how that pupil would move through those phases and see that development happen. So I think we were really fortunate to be part of this, and I really did enjoy my time working alongside the Welsh Government and other colleagues from other schools.
That's great, Amanda. Diolch. As a result of that experience, what innovative and effective practice have you been able to implement here at Garth Olwg?
I think as being part of the group, and being able to listen to other people's ideas and what they developed within their own schools, I felt it was important that we sort of started off quite small. And so we started off with our immersion days with our year 6 pupils coming to us and developing a Expressive Arts Day. From that then, we gave a theme, and we looked at our identity, we looked at our local area, and then obviously we used the houses in which the pupils would be put when they would start with us in the September. From this then, as a whole day, what we did, we designed a few activities within each department. They had a chance to do a dance workshop. They also had a chance then to help create our own song to give them the identity for that year group. We also then designed some work then to go alongside those houses, so they would be able then to display that work to show what house they belong to. We then put all that together, and we invited the parents in after that day, and then the parents had a bit of a performance. Then they could see the work that they had developed over the day, and then they performed the song and obviously the dance. That really was very successful, and it almost, it helped us as a department really come together and truly understand how the mechanics of expressive arts really could work. So we went on to look at expanding this kind of model, again staying with our specialist teachers teaching the specialist subjects. We looked at weekly then projects, which again we gave a theme to, and again we designed certain tasks which, knowingly that they would be develop their skills. What we didn't want to do is just give everyone a theme and for them just to do almost, just tasks which weren't really purposeful. We really honed in on the skills that we wanted to develop. And with this in mind, we really did focus on things which probably are not on our curriculum timetable at the minute. So looking at the film and the digital media and really using and utilising those sort of like areas to help develop skills for our pupils. So with the weekly projects, we started very small with year 7, and we did a few of those over sort of like the few years. And then again, we moved on then and we did a few whole school themes, and they were developed again with associate heads within the school, and we gave a theme to the 2 weeks, and we all then as AOLEs, we designed then project work for all our pupils from year 7 all the way up to year 9. Since then, we've developed that again because now we are a through school from 3 to 19. We've also now had whole school themes, and we've been working on that as well. And really, I just find that maybe the model of starting small and really evaluating what you've done and then working on top and developing in it that way has really helped us, I think, develop our curriculum where we are now. As if we are now within Expressive Arts, we have our curriculum and we are working with that through our year 5, 6, 7 and 8.
That sounds familiar, Amanda. Other schools that I've had conversations with have done something similar where they've trialled with a class or year group or even on the year 6 transition day. And so it started very, very small. I think that's really, really good advice. Also, I like the fact that you made it relevant to the context of your school with your house system and creating that identity, which is obviously really, really important. Could you expand on the themes which have worked well for you and perhaps give us a little bit more detail about how you developed them, please?
As far as themes, I think it's really important that obviously that we listen to pupil voice and they have an input, I suppose, on the themes to get them on board from hearsay. But also what's really important is the themes that they propose, that we know that they're broad enough and that they may be purposeful enough for us to be able to develop their actual skills within that area. I think it's really important within a theme that we're able to give the learners experiences, and especially with us in being so rich really in that area, the expressive arts, that we need to give them the experience of going to the theatre or going to a museum or an art gallery or listening to, the music. So we really do need to make sure that that theme lends itself to giving the experience to the learner. But also on the other side, we really need to think about what skills we want them to develop. And that's really important, that we're able to recognise what skills exactly do we want our learners to be able to develop through studying the theme. And also it comes down to, I think, that each discipline within the expressive arts also have a body of knowledge, and it's really important that we teach that knowledge to the pupils. We don't want pupils going through from year to year not really knowing any artists or any musicians or composers or dancers. It's really important that we use the knowledge, which is so rich and which I suppose is, well, it's enormous if we think about how much knowledge we could possibly give the learners. It's about choosing the themes which I think will connect really well with them as a learner, but also really thinking about those experiences, skills and knowledge to make a better learner. So that's one thing I would say about the themes. The other area about utilising the skills within our school, it is important for us to develop our teachers. Of course it is, and upskilling our teachers. I think I have to say we've been really fortunate within the expressive arts with the teachers that we have, because I do feel that we cover all the disciplines. Having a dance specialist within the drama and the PE department, and we've been able to utilise her skills really well through developing our curriculum. And also as I've been, leading on photography, GCSE and A-level now for many years. And also with our media studies course, I do feel as if we already have the skills. So again, those skills with the certain teachers will be utilised then when designing or creating our themed work across the expressive arts.
You said a number of interesting things there, Amanda. I like the way that you are using the skills and the knowledge and the expertise of the teachers in your faculty to develop the curriculum at a nano level. So you've got the whole school level curriculum, the micro level, and then you're using the staff to develop the schemes of learning, the schemes of planning, the things that they are experts in, and now they get that sense of belonging and ownership. So not only are the pupils feel like they belong because of the content of the curriculum they're experiencing, but so are your staff. So you're able to manage that change from the old curriculum to the new curriculum very, very well. I also like the fact that you listen to the pupils, but you are not directly led by them. I think this is a common myth and misconception. It's a pupil-led curriculum. Yes, pupil voice is really, really important, but then you've used that to develop a curriculum that's going to be able to stretch their abilities and develop their skills and their knowledge, and that it evolves throughout the continuum of the 3 to 16 curriculum, and not just something is done because the pupils want to do it. So I like the thought that's gone into that too. The curriculum for Wales is, as it says, everything the learner experiences in pursuit of the 4 purposes. And the how we teach it and the why we teach it is important, as is the what. So, what themes have worked really, really well for you and Garth Olwg?
Okay, I think the first theme that has probably worked the best for us is one we start in year 7, and that's identity. I think this has really helped us see really the connections between the disciplines within the expressive arts by really looking at our own culture and looking at our place, sort of like of our locality and how Welsh we are, looking at our language and the thought of belonging to a country. By looking at this and transferring, I suppose, that in an expressive arts lens, it really becomes quite rich in looking at artists' work, composers, looking at the dance element within Wales and the folk dance. By choosing the theme identity, I think we really have managed to be able to look at each area within the expressive arts, especially possibly looking at the film industry and how a lot of the film industry now is looking upon us, Wales, and having new programmes, films within the area. It's something, I suppose, that we want our pupils to be knowledgeable about and understand sort of like the importance, I suppose, of being Welsh and how the expressive arts is foreseen in that area then. Because we also work quite closely with the humanities, I think one theme that we have trialled is India. I know that they've been looking at within the humanities the Hindus and the Ganges. And from that, then, we've also been within the expressive arts. We've looked at the Indian music, we've looked at Bollywood dancing, and the patterns that the artists make, especially within henna. So we've been able to develop really a curriculum which is really quite rich and broad to be able to give our learners a good body of knowledge about India. But I do feel it's not probably a theme we possibly would start with, because it's really important that we really look at our local area first, and then this theme then would run afterwards, after looking at Wales and maybe comparing then Wales with another country. I think it's really important that we do start sort of like within Wales and before looking further afield. But I have to say, the work that we did on India, we did an exhibition, and then we created a small film then as well, showing the pupils presenting their work in different ways. Obviously, some were dancing, some were creating music within the music department, and then also within the humanities, they did explore further afield. They looked at cricket, they looked at yoga, so things possibly we don't normally connect with a country, we were able to really make connections and open, I suppose, the eyes of our learners to what India has to offer, I suppose, us now as a country as well.
Those sound like really interesting themes there, Amanda. I really like those, and I can't wait to go back to my school and share what you've just said and discuss them and see where it goes. You're obviously much further down the line than many schools are with your curriculum design and your planning and the sequencing. So what's next at Garth Olwg? Now you've got some good themes. What's next regarding the content and the cross-phase development of the curriculum?
As we've already within the expressive arts looked at themes which work and curriculum, sort of like design, what we want to do is look at the terminology which is used within these certain areas and make sure that the understanding of the pupils across all subjects are developed. And I think not just within a certain area and a certain subject, but we need to make sure that this really is shared through the whole school. So with pupils really learning terminology at a younger age and traditionally not coming to us at year 7, it's really powerful, I think, that we'd be able to work alongside the teachers in the lower school and in the middle school to be able to give them specific terminology within a certain area, within a certain discipline, to help develop the skills. And I think by doing this, we really are being able to collaborate with all teachers and get them all involved with this curriculum and shape our curriculum for our school. Okay, something else I think that I suppose we're really fortunate through being a through school, we really are going to be able to now look at the learners' development and utilise the teachers' knowledge within the lower school and the middle school to help shape our curriculum through all the phases. And also, I think is important by looking then at the learners and how does learning look at certain ages, we possibly will be able to then help assess certain points and certain skills at areas within. So I think our next planning steps really is to look at a child through the school and how does creativity, how does the expressive arts look to a child across all those year groups. What do we need to do? What interventions do we need to make? And make sure that our teaching and learning is good enough to be able to develop every single child within the school along that continuum of learning. So I think being able to work with all the teachers within the Expressive Arts, I'll be able to then help shape what areas we could develop further.
There have been a number of times, Amanda, when I've listened to you and the thought has crossed in my mind that a lot of teachers still have the impression that the curriculum for Wales is a skills curriculum. And there's been plenty of occasions listening to you, you've highlighted the fact that it's about knowledge. Indeed, Curriculum for Wales outlines that skills, knowledge and experience are interdependent. You talked earlier on about the knowledge of the separate disciplines. You're talking now about the knowledge of the vocabulary, and it's important that as teachers we don't just think of this curriculum as a curriculum of skills. It's also about knowledge. There's powerful knowledge, there's propositional knowledge, and there's procedural knowledge, and even epistemic knowledge, and it's important that we give all of those due consideration. One thing that often crops up in conversations I have with secondary school teachers is that they feel pupils join them in year 7 without much basic knowledge of the subject. They've had plenty of opportunities to develop skill, but not much knowledge, and that's something which you're addressing. Another thing you're addressing is the importance placed on metacognition and the self-regulated learning, and how the impact that child development has on the skill development and knowledge acquisition. I can't wait to come back in the future and find out what you've learned from this. Before I let you go, Amanda, please can you give us just one bit of advice for the teachers out there who are gone through perhaps the development of vision for the curriculum and now in that planning and the designing and trialling phase of the journey to 2022?
I think networking is really important. Being able to pick up the phone and talk something through, or talk some ideas through, or even listen to other people of what ideas they've done or what they've trialed, what's gone wrong, what hasn't, what's worked. It really does help. And I think that's what I've been quite fortunate to be able to do, really, especially as part of the group. I have got somebody else on the phone. If I want to share an idea, then you've got somebody else's opinion. So I think really networking and coming together, working in clusters, or even if you hear that a certain school has done a certain project, really not to be frightened and just to get into contact. So I'm sure all of us feel really the same. We want to do move our schools on, and I think the best way is to be working together.
Diolch yn fawr, Amanda, thank you very much. And I couldn't agree more with your last sentiment about networking. And if there are any listeners out there who feel like they need to get in touch, they got good ideas to share, or they got questions or queries or concerns about anything to do with Curriculum for Wales or any aspect of their teaching, then please don't hesitate to get in touch. Thank you for your time, Amanda. Diolch yn fawr.
Diolch am wrando ar y bennod hon o Sgwrs. Cofiwch ein dilyn ar Twitter a Facebook, tanysgrifio ein sianel YouTube, ymuno yn cymunedau ar ein gwefan a darllen ein bwletin ysgolion wythnosol am y newyddion diweddaraf. Thanks for listening to this episode of Sgwrs. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, join our online communities via our website, and read our weekly school bulletin for the latest news. Hwyl am y tro. Bye for now.